The chamber of the Galactic Council was shaped like a perfect circle. High above a gas planet called Velshar Prime, over 200 alien species sat in silence, their eyes locked on the central platform where the Supreme Speaker stood. All voices have been heard, the speaker announced in a deep metallic voice. Now comes the vote. Tension filled the air. For centuries, the Council had managed peace in the galaxy. But now one small planet had shaken everything, Earth. They moved too fast, hissed Grand Marshal Reltok of the Garn Empire. In less than 100 cycles, they jumped from stone tools to space travel. They are dangerous, added High Thinker Solanus, a floating being of energy. We found traces of them near ancient tech. They are learning things they should not. A screen hovered above the platform, showing Earth's blue and green surface spinning slowly in the dark. We gave them no warning, said a quiet voice. It was Elder Vestal of the Treen. His people were old, peaceful, and slow to act. Reltok growled, "They don't deserve warning. Earth is still young. If we strike now, they cannot fight back." "But they haven't attacked us," Vestal replied. "That's the danger." Solanus snapped, "They watch. They build. And one day, they'll become something even we cannot control." The speaker raised one clawed hand. "Let the votes be cast," he said. A ring of golden lights spun around the chamber. One by one, members pressed their votes into the air. Each voice, each empire, made its choice. Strike. Attack. Remove the threat. Lights turned red across the circle. One after another, the word "yes" lit up beside each seat. Until only one remained. Elder Vostal stared at the voting glyph in front of him. His long fingers shook. "They have children," he whispered. "They dream, like we once did." He pressed no. The chamber went cold. The vote passed. One voice against. 200 meant nothing. The speaker declared, "The attack begins at once. Earth will fall before the next cycle." Vostal stood. "You're making a mistake," Reltok sneered. "Then watch your mistake burn from your home world." But Vostal wasn't finished. As the others filed out, he stayed behind, pulled out a small device, and sent a message in a language no one else had ever seen. On Earth, the sky was quiet. Birds flew over green fields. Kids played in parks. Scientists worked in labs. People dreamed of stars, but didn't know the stars had voted to kill them. Deep underground, a secret human station picked up a strange signal. "Sir," a technician called, "we've got something. Alien origin. Hidden frequency. Looks like a warning." General Lena Shaw stared at the screen. The message was short, just one word. "Run." She leaned forward. "Where did it come from?" "No idea. Somewhere far beyond Mars. Encrypted. But it's not a threat. It's a plea." She turned to her team. "Wake up the Council. And activate Black Vault protocols. We don't run. We prepare." A week later, the first alien fleet arrived just beyond Earth's moon. Hundreds of warships shaped like knives floated in space. Their weapons were ready. Their orders were clear. "Destroy Earth. Inside the command ship," Reltok smiled. "Send the message. Offer them surrender. One chance." A transmission beamed toward Earth. But Earth didn't respond. Not a word. No fear. No request for peace. Just silence. Reltok laughed. "They're paralyzed. Begin approach." As the fleet moved closer, strange things began to happen. One by one, ship systems started to fail. Lights flickered. Scanners went dark. Entire weapon systems shut down without reason. "What's going on?" An alien officer shouted. "Interference?" Another asked. "No, it's sabotage." A voice screamed. In the black of space, something moved fast and quiet. Too fast to track. One alien ship exploded. Then another. Then 5 more gone in seconds. "What is this?" Reltok roared. A technician stammered. We don't know." Something's inside our systems. Back on Earth, General Shaw watched from a command center buried deep under the Rocky Mountains. Status? She asked calmly. Enemy fleet collapsing. We haven't even fired yet, her officer replied. Good, she said. Let them know what happens when someone votes against Earth. Far away, in his quiet chamber, Elder Vestal stared out into the stars. He heard the news. The first fleet failed. Ships destroyed. No survivors. And Earth had still not spoken a word. He leaned back and closed his eyes. You fools, he whispered. You thought they were children, but they were just quiet lions. He sent one final message into the void. Forgive us. The alien fleet hovered in Earth's orbit like a cloud of metal death. Hundreds of ships pointed their weapons at the quiet blue planet below. Inside the Garn flagship, Commander Reltok slammed his fist on the control table. Why haven't they answered? He shouted. We sent them a warning. We gave them time. No one replied. The bridge was silent except for the low hum of failing systems. Their silence. It's strange, said his advisor, a pale creature with 4 eyes. We expected panic, pleas for mercy, but there's nothing. Reltok growled, pacing. Maybe they're broken. Maybe they fear us too much to speak. Another officer spoke up, voice shaking. Or maybe they know something we don't. The command screen blinked red. Sir, the technician called out. We've lost communication with Ship 3. And 5, and now Ship 9. Reltok spun around. Lost? How? They just went dark. No explosion. No signal. Gone. Suddenly, the lights on the flagship flickered. The weapons officer froze. What was that? The ship's AI sputtered. Intrusion detected. Defensive systems compromised. Reltok's voice dropped. What kind of intrusion? A shadow passed over the windows. Not something big but fast. Very fast. One of the soldiers leaned forward, eyes wide. There! Something moved outside. No known ship moves like that, the technician whispered. Then came a boom. Not from outside, but from inside the ship. Smoke filled the room. Sirens wailed, one by one. Systems crashed. Shut it down. Reltok screamed. Switch to backup control. But the ship wouldn't respond. It was no longer theirs. And then, a voice, calm, cold, human. You should have knocked. Down on Earth, in a mountain base deep beneath the surface, General Lena Shaw stood over a holographic table. All right, she said. Status update. A young officer tapped the control screen. 13 enemy ships disabled. 7 more. Locked in digital traps. None of them suspect we've deployed physical weapons yet. Lena nodded. Good. Any transmissions? They're still trying to reach us, the officer replied. Messages every 10 minutes. Now they're begging. A scientist in a lab coat entered the room. The virus worked even better than expected. Their tech has weak AI barriers. They didn't think we could fight without lasers, Lena smiled. That was their first mistake. A senior officer leaned in. Ma'am, should we respond now? Let them know we're in control? She paused. No, let the silence speak. It's louder than threats. Back in space, the alien fleet was falling apart. Ships spun out of position. Some collided. Others shut down entirely. In panic, captains tried to fire weapons. But the systems refused. A screen lit up in the command center with human text. None of the aliens could read it, but the message translated itself. Do not point weapons at Earth again. Reltok stared at it, breathing heavily. They've infected us. How? The answer came not through tech, but through fear. The silence was no mistake. Earth had been listening, watching, preparing. And when the Council voted for war, Earth didn't shout. It didn't send threats. It didn't panic. It waited. One of the alien ships attempted to flee. Its engines roared to life, blasting toward deep space. But halfway through the jump, the ship exploded in a silent blue flash. On Earth's defense screen, a red dot disappeared. "We warned them," Lena said quietly. One of her officers looked up. "Why don't we just destroy them all now?" She shook her head. "Because fear is better than ashes. If they live, they'll speak of what happened. Let them carry the story." Another officer added, "They expected a weak world. Instead, they found ghosts in their systems and monsters in their skies." Lena looked at the world outside, calm, bright, untouched. "Exactly. Let them wonder how deep the rabbit hole goes." On the alien flagship, power returned for only 30 seconds. Just long enough for a single message from Earth to play across every screen. It was a recording. A simple video of a human child standing beside a metal wall. She looked straight into the camera. "Don't come back," she said. Then the screen went black. Panic spread like fire. The fleet turned away. What was left of it? No orders. No council. Commands. Just fear. In the aftermath, news of the failure spread fast across the galaxy. The Garn Empire called it a technical error. The high-energy beings of Solanus withdrew their ambassadors. The Galactic Council held a secret emergency session. Whispers grew louder. Earth was supposed to be primitive. "They have weapons that don't exist in any record." They spoke through silence, and silence hurt us more than war. Some suggested sending a second wave. Others refused to go near the Sol system again. But everyone agreed on one thing: Earth had changed everything, and the galaxy would never be the same. At first, it looked like just another sunrise. People across Earth woke up to golden skies and cool morning air. Birds flew quietly. Children got ready for school. Workers sipped their coffee, scrolling through news feeds. Everything seemed normal. But above the clouds, high in Earth's orbit, nothing was normal. A second alien fleet had arrived. Unlike the first, this one came silently. No warnings, no messages. It was 3 times larger, spread out like a moving wall of metal and light. The Galactic Council had made a new decision. If fear couldn't stop Earth, firepower would. On board one of the alien command ships, Commander Isker stared at the planet below. His skin was rough and purple, his eyes cold. "Begin the blackout," he ordered. Technicians obeyed. Beams of energy shot down from orbit, aiming at Earth's satellite systems. Communications were the first to go, then satellites that controlled weather, navigation, and even power grids. In cities across Earth, screens went dark. Radios cut off. GPS signals vanished. In a cafe in Tokyo, people looked up from their phones. No signal? In a lab in Berlin, a scientist frowned. "That's not natural interference." In a base deep under Colorado, General Lena Shaw narrowed her eyes at a wall of blacked-out feeds. "They've started," she said. At that same moment, a strange light appeared in the upper atmosphere. It began as a thin line, red and glowing, then spread across the sky like spilled paint. Within minutes, skies turned blood orange. Flames twisted in the clouds. But the fire wasn't falling down. It was rising. From Earth's surface, the world watched as the sky itself caught fire, reaching up toward the invaders above. In the center of this light, something massive began to form. Not a ship, not a missile. Something older, something human. But also not. The alien fleet began to panic. "Sir, something is coming from the planet," a soldier cried. Commander Isker narrowed his eyes. "What is it? A launch?" "No, it's energy, sir. A kind we've never seen." Another officer shouted, "Shields failing across our front line." Isker barked, "Redirect all power to defense. Fire at will." Weapons lit up. Beams of plasma and pulse rounds fired toward Earth, but the rising flame swallowed every shot. Nothing touched the planet. Then came the first strike from Earth. A beam of blue fire shot up from the planet's surface and ripped through 2 alien warships like paper. Another followed. Then another. Ships exploded one after the other. Isker's Mouth dropped open. They had this the whole time? No record shows weapons of this kind. Screamed the technician. These aren't missiles. They're directed vents from inside the Earth. Below the crust, humanity had hidden a secret network of energy weapons buried deep within the planet disguised under volcanoes. Oceans and ice caps. And now, the sky was fighting back. On Earth, panic met awe. In New York, people stood on rooftops, watching the glowing battle in the sky. A little girl whispered, "Is the sky angry?" Her mother held her tight. "No, sweetie. That's us." In Moscow, a retired general turned to his old radio operator. "This is no defense system. This is vengeance." Back in orbit, Commander Isker made a desperate choice. "All ships retreat," he ordered. "We cannot win this." But the sky didn't let them go. As the ships turned, the rising fire followed. It crawled over metal. It melted engines. One by one, the fleet fell apart. Only a few ships escaped. Only a few would live to tell what they saw. Later, in the Galactic Council chambers, chaos erupted. How could this happen again? Roared Rail Talk, who had once led the First Fleet. They were hiding weapons inside the planet. Shouted another. One of the council members stood. His eyes were wide with fear. They didn't scream. They didn't threaten. They didn't even respond to our blackout. He looked around the room. They waited. Then they made the sky burn. The room went silent. Elder Vostal, the one who had warned them before, finally spoke. "You thought silence meant weakness," he said softly. But their silence was a storm waiting to rise. Back on Earth, General Shaw stood on a cliff, watching the last flames fade from the sky. "Casualties?" she asked. "None on our side," the officer replied. "They never reached us," Shaw nodded. "Good. Let them keep guessing." The officer turned. "What if they try again?" Shaw smiled, cold and calm. "They won't." He raised an eyebrow. "How can you be sure?" She didn't look at him. Her eyes stayed on the stars. "Because next time," she said, "we won't wait for them to fire first." Elder Vostal sat alone in the shadows of his chamber on the Trine homeworld. Outside the tall crystal windows, pale moons glowed over silent forests. His eyes, dim with age, stared at the message he had sent days ago. A warning. A single word. Run. But Earth didn't run. Earth had fought. And now, the sky was silent again, but the galaxy trembled. Vostal closed the screen and stood slowly. He moved like a being carrying the weight of 1,000 years. A small voice spoke from the corner. "You broke council law." Vostal turned. A younger Trine officer stepped into the light. "You warned them. You helped the humans." "Yes," Vostal replied calmly, "and I would do it again." "They will send someone for you." The officer said, "You are no longer safe." "I know," Vostal whispered. "That is why I must leave." Far across the stars, deep beneath Earth's surface, General Lena Shaw sat in a secured chamber watching an old alien recording. "He warned us," she said, "even when the rest voted for war." The video showed Vostal's face, wrinkled. "Serious, honest. He risked everything," said Dr. Ramos, Earth's chief alien tech analyst. "He's not like the others." Shaw nodded. "Do we have a signal trace?" "Yes, it came from a Trine diplomatic ship hidden near Saturn." He sent it quietly, massed under a meteor pattern. "Impressive." Shaw leaned back. "Find him. Bring him in safe. We owe him." The escape wasn't easy. Vostal moved under false identification. He wore a travel robe like a merchant and avoided crowded ports. He traveled alone, using stolen credits and silent routes. His people would brand him a traitor. The council would execute him, but he didn't regret it. He believed in Earth. He believed in what he saw. In their eyes. Not fear. Not rage. Fire. At a small trade station orbiting Jupiter, Vostal waited in the dark corner of a docking bay. He was Supposed to meet someone from Earth. But what if they didn't trust him? What if they left him to be hunted? Then a door hissed open. A woman stepped through in a black uniform. Cold eyes, calm steps. She didn't say a word at first. Vostal stood. "You are General Shaw?" "No," she replied. "I'm the one who makes sure the general stays alive." Her name was Mira, Earth Intelligence Division. She studied him carefully. "You warned us. Why?" He looked into her eyes. "Because I've seen your kind. You rise like a storm. And storms don't belong in cages." Mira didn't smile, but she gave a small nod. "You're coming with us. If the council finds you first, you're dead. They already consider me dead," Vostal said softly. They traveled back to Earth through hidden lanes. Vostal stayed quiet during most of the journey, staring out at the stars. "I once believed the council was wise," he said one night. "And now?" Mira asked. "I believe it's old and afraid." "Afraid of us?" He nodded. "Not for what you are now, but for what you can become." When they reached Earth, General Shaw waited in a sealed chamber deep beneath Antarctica. She stood alone. When Vostal walked in, "I owe you a thank you," she said. Vostal bowed his head. "You owe me nothing. I did what was right." "Why?" she asked. "Your people could have destroyed us. Why risk your life for strangers?" He looked around the room, taking in the walls of strange earth metal and soft light. "Because you're not strangers anymore," he said. "You've stepped into the stars. You've woken something ancient. You act with fire, but not blindness. That's rare." Shaw nodded slowly. "We didn't want war, but we won't run from it either." "Good," Vostal replied. "Then I chose the right side." Outside, Earth's defense systems quietly recharged. The skies were clear now. No ships, no threats. But humans were no longer watching for war. They were preparing for something bigger. "Do you think they'll come again?" Myra asked Vostal as they stood looking at the stars from Earth's southern pole. "They might," he said. "But next time, they'll come with fear in their hearts. And us?" Vostal turned to her, a rare smile forming on his old face. "You will be ready." Back in the Galactic Council, whispers began to grow louder. One member slammed a hand on the table. "The spy who warned Earth must be found." Another muttered, "We cannot defeat them with force. That much is clear." Others looked at each other, uncertain. But one word floated across the chambers like smoke: alliance. And far beyond those cold halls, Earth waited strong, silent, and watching. Because they now had an alien spy on their side, and he knew everything. In a quiet, sealed lab deep below Iceland's frozen surface, something stirred. Not a machine. Not a weapon made of metal. It was alive. Dr. Elena Ward stood alone, her hands behind her back, staring through a thick glass wall. On the other side sat a chair, cold, metallic, with no wires, no restraints. But no one dared sit in it. Not yet. Behind her, General Lena Shaw entered with silent steps. "Is it ready?" Shaw asked. Elena didn't look away. "It's always been ready. The question is, are we?" Shaw walked closer. "Does it work?" Elena turned, her eyes sharp. "We tested it on rats. Then on volunteers. Then on prisoners who agreed." "What?" "We've built, General. It doesn't fire bullets. It doesn't launch rockets." "Then what does it do?" Shaw asked. "It invades." Meanwhile, in a dark corner of the galaxy, a third alien fleet met in secret. These weren't brutes like the Garn. These were the Vasari masters of the mind, gifted in telepathy and illusion. They had watched Earth's rise in silence. "They beat our machines," said one. "They turned fire to their shield." "They can hide weapons underground," said another. "But can they hide what's in their minds?" The Vasari believed they had the answer. "Send a mental probe," ordered their leader. "Read the humans. Break them from within." They launched a signal, invisible. Silent, it slipped through defenses. It reached Earth's orbit. And it found the chair. Dr. Ward was waiting. "They're trying," she whispered. The chair glowed faintly. Shaw stood behind her, hands tight behind her back. "So they think they can read us?" "They're not, they." "First to try," Alina said. She tapped a button. The chair responded. The Vasari probe connected. For a moment, they were inside Earth's network. Then inside a simulation. Then inside something else. They expected to see thoughts, fear, memories, old wars, childhood dreams. But instead, they found fire, walls of shifting data, endless codes layered with traps, voices speaking in languages that didn't exist, and then, screaming. The Vasari screamed not on Earth, but inside their own minds. One by one, their psychic links exploded. Ships went dark. Officers collapsed. Some began clawing at their own heads. "What is this?" Their commander yelled, but no one could answer. They were already inside the mind weapon. The project had started as an experiment. How far could human memory stretch? Could emotion become code? Could pain become defense? The answer was yes. Dr. Ward had built a neural fortress, filled with the worst and deepest parts of human history. Not just data but feeling. Not just memory but experience. The Vasari had walked into Earth's nightmares. In one vision, an alien saw fire consume a city. Heard a mother cry as bombs fell. In another, one floated in a dark ocean, freezing, choking, screaming for air. Another relived every war humans ever fought in seconds. The probe was no longer stealing information. It was being fed poison. Back in orbit, the last Vasari ship turned to escape. But it was too late. A message appeared on every screen inside the fleet, this time imperfect. Vasari script: "You wanted our minds, now carry our ghosts." A whisper followed, not through speakers, but in every officer's mind, a human voice. This was mercy. Down in the lab, the chair dimmed. The attack had ended. General Shaw looked at Alina. "Casualties?" Alina shrugged. "None on our side." Shaw nodded. "You really did it." "I didn't build a weapon," Alina said. "I built a wall. One they should never try to climb again." Shaw turned to leave. "Let's make sure they don't." A week later, across the galaxy, rumors spread like wildfire. The humans had no fleet. But they had a weapon you couldn't touch. It didn't destroy bodies. It destroyed sanity. It didn't come from metal. It came from memory. The Vasari sealed their borders. They erased all Earth-related files. And for the first time in their long, psychic history, they did something unthinkable. They stayed silent. In Earth's council room, Shaw met with Vostal. "Again, they won't be back," she said. Vostal smiled. "You burned their minds." "We showed them what we carry," she replied. "We showed them that we remember everything." Vostal nodded slowly. "That's what makes your kind terrifying." Shaw raised a brow. "Because we have memories?" "No," he said. "Because you know how to use them." The Galactic Council had never faced such a storm. For over 1,000 years, the Council ruled the galaxy. Different alien species sat together, made decisions, and controlled power. But Earth had changed everything. Inside the shining council chamber, tension filled the air. The room was shaped like a circle. In the center, a glowing platform pulsed with blue light. Around it sat leaders from every powerful alien race. Their faces were cold, eyes sharp. And one thing was clear: fear had finally entered this sacred room. "We need answers," growled Chancellor Virak of the Zinther race. His skin was deep gray, and his voice cracked like thunder. "Earth's mind weapon has destroyed our control systems across 3 sectors. Who built it? Who allowed humans to develop such power?" No one answered. Then, Counselor Reth from the Veldari race stood slowly. Her wings, normally calm and folded, twitched nervously. "It wasn't supposed to be like this," she whispered. "We thought they were primitive. We thought they only had missiles and ships. but they turned thoughts into weapons. The silence was deep. All eyes turned to the human delegate. Or rather, where the human delegate used to sit. The chair was empty. They didn't show up again, someone said. It's the third session they've missed. They know, muttered a counselor. They know they've broken the rules. Or maybe, Counselor Omak said, leaning forward, they know the rules no longer apply to them. A loud alarm suddenly echoed through the chamber. Red lights flashed across the walls. Every counselor froze. What now? Chancellor Viruk roared. An AI. Voice came from the ceiling. Council security breach. Internal systems under attack. Source classified as Earth origin. They're hacking us again? Ref said, wings flaring open. No, replied another voice. This one not from the AI. It came from the chamber entrance. Everyone turned. There stood a human, calm, dressed in a simple dark suit. Eyes sharp like steel. You can't be here. Viruk snapped. This is a protected space. You broke peace first. The human replied coldly. You voted to attack Earth. You tried to kill us from the stars. We didn't fire back with guns. We fired with truth. What does that mean? Ref asked, confused. It means your secrets are no longer safe. The room's screen suddenly came to life. Every hidden file, every dirty deal, every dark truth of the council started flashing on the walls. Secret experiments. Trade betrayals. Even agreements to allow weaker species to die if it meant profit. You hacked the council's archives? Viruk shouted. The human just smiled. No, we freed them. Panic broke out. One counselor pulled a weapon. Another tried to flee. One screamed, they've turned our people against us. My home planet is in revolt. Indeed, across the galaxy, the people were watching the same thing. The human weapon wasn't a bomb. It was data. And with that data, Earth had turned the people of the galaxy against their own leaders. This is an act of war, Viruk barked. You will regret this. No, the human said, stepping forward. You declared war. We just ended your lies. Counselor Ref trembled. What do you want? Nothing, the human replied. We want freedom, just like everyone else. Suddenly, the lights shut off. Backup systems turned red. Some counselors shouted. Some cried. Some sat in shock. By the time the lights returned, the human was gone, but the damage was done. That night, the council's power cracked. By morning, it had fallen. And Earth? Earth didn't send warships. It sent knowledge. Knowledge that burned. Louder than fire and cut deeper than any blade. In the end, the council didn't fall because of war. It fell because truth had finally come knocking. And a human had opened the door. The silence in the Galactic Council chamber was unbearable. Leaders of powerful alien empires sat frozen in shock. They had voted to attack Earth, thinking the humans would surrender or be destroyed. But instead, Earth responded in a way no one could have predicted. Counselor Vels from the Creel Dominion broke the silence. How did they strike so fast? Another voice trembled. We attacked their communication satellites. We shut down their outer defenses. We calculated everything. It was supposed to work. Counselor Tarek of the Vern Order stood up, slamming his clawed hand on the table. It didn't work. Earth hit back before our ships even reached orbit. They knew. Whispers spread like fire. Back on Earth, General Raina Cole stared at the war map. Phase 1 complete. Our response must shake them to their core. No mercy, no hesitation. Make them regret everything. Her assistant nodded. Message from Luna Base. All defense grids stable. The orbital defense rings held. Not one alien ship made it through. Raina smiled, but there was no joy in her eyes. Good, now it's our turn. 3 human dreadnoughts, cloaked with stealth fields Earth had never shown before, emerged from the dark side of Jupiter. They activated weapons no alien race had ever seen, soundless beams that sliced ships in half, plasma clouds that erased energy signatures. In less than 20 minutes, Earth's counterstrike destroyed 7 Council fleets. Impossible. Counselor Vels shouted, "We have dominated 10 star systems. How can humans' primitive, isolated strike with this kind of power?" Counselor Turek turned slowly toward him. "Because we underestimated them." On the view screen in the council chamber, Earth's message played again. Simple, direct, human. You brought war to our skies. You tried to silence our voice, but we are not afraid. We are not alone. We are ready. Then came something worse. Another screen lit up. A human scientist in a lab coat stood behind a strange machine. "Council," he said calmly, "we never wanted war, but we prepare for every possibility. This is just one of our many responses." He activated the device. "Counselor." Vels leaned forward. A star blinked out in real time. "What did he do?" Someone whispered. Reyna's voice followed immediately. "That was a demonstration. We didn't destroy a planet. We shut down a weaponized sun, remotely. Think very carefully about what happens next." The room exploded in shouts. "Humans. Half-star killers. No, that's science fiction." "It just happened, you fool." One of the counselors tried to run. Another collapsed. Panic was spreading. Counselor Turek remained seated. "We misjudged them, again. We thought Earth was chaotic weak. But their chaos is their strength." Counselor Vels growled. "Then what do you propose?" "Survival," Turek said. "Surrender, or diplomacy. But we must act before they act again." Back on Earth, Reyna paced her command room. "They'll panic," she said. "They'll argue, but they'll listen. Now they know we're not just strong. We're smart, strategic, and merciful. Do we stop the strike fleets?" "General?" her assistant asked. Reyna nodded slowly. "For now, let them sweat. Let them think." She looked at the stars beyond the glass. "Let them understand who they woke." The council sent a reply. "We wish to negotiate." Reyna didn't answer right away. Then finally she said, "Send them the terms. Earth leads the talks, no exceptions." And across the galaxy, where fear once lived, a new message burned into every screen. Humanity responded. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The stars had never looked so quiet. Admiral Rene stood at the observation deck of Earth's main orbital command station, watching the shimmering belt of ships surround their planet like a steel halo. Each ship represented a new alliance. Each light, a survivor of war. But peace didn't come easily. "The council is silent now," said Commander Malik, stepping beside her. "No signals, no response. It's like they vanished." Rene narrowed her eyes. "They didn't vanish. They're regrouping." Earth shook the galaxy. Now everyone's deciding what to do with us. The last battle had been chaos. Earth's defense force, once considered primitive, had shattered the council's invasion. Fleet. What followed wasn't celebration, it was fear. Not from humans, but from the galaxy itself. Across alien systems, whispers spread like fire. Humans don't stop. Humans fight beyond logic. Humans adapt too quickly, and that's what scared them most. In the heart of the Nabari system, remnants of the Galactic Council held a hidden meeting. 7 species were present once, proud rulers of order. "We cannot allow Earth to claim a seat among us," spat Varin, a lizard-like Zarnak. "They bring fire, not balance. They destroyed our fleets," shouted a soft-skinned Jayari elder. "No species has done that to the Council in 10,000 cycles." But one remained quiet. Elrix, the oldest mind among them. His tentacles swayed gently in the low-gravity chamber. "They did not destroy us because they wanted power," Elrix finally spoke. "They destroyed us because we forced them to." The room fell silent. Elrix continued. "If they had not fought back, they would have been erased." And they fought smarter, faster, and with more heart than any species I've seen. Varen hissed, "So what? Do we bend our knees?" "No," Elric said softly. "We offer our hands." Back on Earth, the skies were filled with more ships, only this time, not for war. Delegations arrived from distant planets, seeking meetings, not conquests. A shuttle from the Mylery Confederation hovered over the Atlantic Embassy dome, inside. Ambassador Hera, a crystalline being, approached Renee. "I come with no demands," Hera said, her voice like wind chimes. "Only a question. What does Earth want?" Renee paused, surprised. "We want to survive. But now that we've survived..." She looked up toward the stars. "We want to belong." Hera tilted her translucent head. "You could rule, Admiral. No one can stop you." "That's not who we are," Renee replied. "We don't want to rule the galaxy. We want to walk beside it." Word spread. The humans had answered with fire, but now offered peace. A week later, a historic moment arrived. On the neutral moon of Yari's Rock, where no weapon was allowed, representatives from over 50 species gathered. A new council rebuilt not from fear, but from understanding. Renee stood before them in a dark navy suit. No armor, no weapon, just words. "For centuries you looked at Earth as a distant world," she began. "A blue dot with loud people who fought among themselves. You thought we were not ready. And maybe we weren't." She paused. The room was still. "But war came to us. You came to us. And we changed. We defended ourselves not because we hate you, but because we love our people, our planet, our future. And now we are here not to lead, not to dominate, but to build." There was silence, then slow applause from a few corners. Then more, then a standing wave of acceptance. Outside the great chamber, Malik approached her, smiling. "You think they're really ready for humans?" Renee smirked. "No, but they're starting to understand we never needed to be accepted. We just needed to be heard." "And now?" he asked. "Now," she said, "Earth has a place among stars." The sky beyond Yari's Rock shimmered. Not with warships, but beacons of unity blinking together in rhythm. A new chapter had begun. And this time, humanity was not the outsider. They were one of the pillars. End of story. Let me know if you'd like the full 8-part YouTube thumbnail prompts for each part or need Urdu translation or voiceover scripting for this series. Here is the final chapter based on your title. Earth's Place Among Stars, written in simple, suspenseful English with dialogue and strong build-up. Earth's place among stars, the stars were quiet now. The war had ended, but the silence that followed was louder than all the battles before it. Ships drifted in orbit, burned or abandoned. Debris circled Earth like a crown of smoke and ash. And yet, Earth stood. In the Galactic Council's chambers, what remained of them, a new meeting was called. Not by the elders, not by the surviving empires, but by Earth itself. The large hall, once filled with proud voices and echoing laughter, now sat heavy with tension. Many species were missing. Some had fled. Others were gone, destroyed in the chaos that followed the Council's vote to attack Earth. A tall alien with deep gray skin, the Yurluk named Drensal, spoke first. His voice trembled slightly. "Let it be known. Earth has requested to speak." A door opened. Every eye turned. From the shadows stepped a single human. A woman in a plain black uniform, no guards, no advisors, just her. She walked to the center slowly, her footsteps echoing like distant thunder. She looked around not with pride, not with anger, but with something deeper. Calm. "My name is Captain Mara Lin," she said, voice clear and steady. "I am not here to ask. I am here to declare." Whispers spread through the chamber like sparks on dry grass. Mara continued. "You tried to destroy us. You failed, and in your failure the galaxy has changed. An insectoid being, blinking nervously, stood up. We admit our mistake. Earth is stronger than we expected. But why are you here now? Mara turned her gaze to him. Because the galaxy is broken. The Council destroyed its own order by voting for war based on fear. That fear cost you everything. And we humans had no choice but to respond. A lizard-like senator hissed. What do you want then? Revenge? Power? No, Mara replied coldly. We want something better. Silence. She walked to a glowing table in the center. With a wave of her hand, a new star map appeared. One. Reshaped by war, hundreds of systems had fallen into chaos. Borders were gone. Refugees floated between ruined planets. This is your doing, she said, looking at them all. But it doesn't have to end here. And what do you offer, human? Asked Drencel cautiously. Mara took a deep breath. We offer leadership. Gasps filled the chamber. You think you can lead the galaxy? A small alien barked. You're new, you're primitive. No, she said. We're survivors. You built this galaxy with rules of fear and domination. We endured that, and we're still here. And we're willing to build something better. She paused, then said louder, join us. Let Earth help reshape this galaxy. Not with weapons, with unity, with reason. Or you can go back to your empires, hide behind broken fleets, and wait for the next war. A deep voice rumbled from the shadows. It belonged to Corval, a warlord who had once sworn to burn Earth's skies. His fleet was now ashes. He stepped forward and said, I saw what your people did. You didn't just fight. You protected, even your enemies. I watched. Humans pull my soldiers from burning ships. You have honor. Mara nodded. Because we remember what it means to be small. We remember what it means to be powerless. That's why we never wanted to rule. But we won't let fear rule again. The chamber was silent. Finally, Drencel spoke again. And if we refuse? Mara didn't blink. Then Earth will return home. We will protect our borders. But we will not help you rebuild. You will be alone. It wasn't a threat. It was a truth. Whispers turned to voices. Voices turned to arguments, but Mara stood still. And slowly, the noise faded again. One by one, members of the Council looked at the star map, looked at the human. And one by one, they bowed their heads. It had taken war to teach them. But now they saw. Earth's place among the stars was not earned by destruction. It was earned by choice. A choice to lead not as rulers, but as guardians. As the session closed, Captain Mara turned to leave. A voice called after her. What shall this new order be called? She stopped, then smiled. Not an order, she said. A union. And with that, she stepped into the light, leaving the old galaxy behind.